Welcome to the Fat Fueled Family Podcast, where every week Danny and Maura Vega discuss topics that help families live a healthy and active lifestyle with their little ones, including nutrition and training, peaceful parenting, education, and mindset. To stay up to date, make sure to hit subscribe on this podcast and check out the blog at www.fatfueled.family. You can also find them on Facebook and Instagram at dannyvega.ms, at fatfueledmom, and at fatfueledkids, and Fat Fueled Family on YouTube. Enjoy the show.
Welcome to the Fat Fueled Family Podcast. I'm your host, Danny Vega, and I'm joined by my ASMR wife. How are you, Mother?
Oh my gosh.
Show 'em.
I'm doing fine, guys. How are you?
I really want to hear that. I can't wait to hear that.
Oh my goodness.
She was practicing
You guys
her.
know what ASMR is? I know some of you know. You podcast listeners.
She was practicing this before we got on. And I was telling her that there's like a food one, and Logan, if Logan's listening, he knows what this is. It's called it's a weird name too. It's like a weird name.
And whoever's listening to this, if you know what it is, you're like, yeah, I know it.
It's that thing where you do like the big crunch at the beginning of a reel or something.
Oh my gosh, but
it pulls people right in.
Mayra does that.
Mayra does it.
She's
and it's
so
awesome.
good at it, and that's why she has almost 1 million followers. Guys, low carb love. Go follow her
Go
immediately.
follow her.
And some of you guys are like, well, duh, I already am.
Yeah, but she's such an amazing human being. She's like an angel.
Love her.
We love her. So, anyways.
And her reels are very satisfying for food.
Yeah, and she does that thing. I forget what it's called, but she does it.
She's like, let me show you how I made this.
Yes.
She's the best.
All right, so we have another great friend who we had a great time recording with.
Yes, amazing.
One of our amazing Canadians that we feel for you all, everyone who's up there and having a hard time with their business and things like that, because things are kind of crazy in Canada right now. It all depends on where you are, but just in general, they're not great, and we send you all our love. We need to introduce our guest, so I just want to give you guys a little background. I met this week's guest in March doing Tom Shea's 48-hour challenge, and it was just amazing. I kind of met her before because she was organizing it with Tom, and I got to know her, and she's just so full of energy. And as I got to know her more, I got to learn her story. She had been with her partner for 15 years. And they had just broken up, and she needed to like find her place in the world. She, imagine she was stay-at-home mom, giving all her time to her kids, and she kind of went out on a limb because she found kettlebells, and she found this program called Kettlebell Kickboxing. And on a whim, we're talking about someone from the prairie, someone from Saskatchewan, Canada, taking a flight to New York City and basically setting herself up as the only affiliate in all of Canada. And so if anybody's interested in what she does after this, if you want to look into it, we're putting her notes in her website in the notes, but it's kbkbstudio.tv. That's her gym. And on Instagram, it's at Kettlebell Kickboxing Canada. Just a great story about what she's done, and it's, to me, this is the type of story. Tell me, what do you think about this? Like the type of story where there's so many people, whether they're parents, they're married, and they find themselves, for whatever situation, having to think about things in their 40s and older, and it's okay. You can still start over.
Oh yeah.
Of
course.
And the fact that to me is like, guys, so don't even think
amazing.
about saying that you are stuck somewhere forever if you're in your 20s. Forget about that. That's not even you need to just, if you are not happy, and I'm not going to say if you're not happy at work, because work is hard. I'm not saying if you're not happy, but if you are not fulfilled, okay? Because work is hard. There's a lot of times that I'm not happy, but I'm fulfilled. You can start over. You can. And so we hope you guys enjoy this episode, and tell us what you think about Maura's ASMR voice.
Oh my gosh. Yes, guys. Tell me what you think.
All right. We hope you guys enjoy it. What's that?
Oh, this?
Yeah.
It's just my Keto Brick.
Keto Brick? What's a Keto Brick?
Well, Keto Brick, well, it's an actual brick, which is awesome because it lasts me a really long time. Can't say the same for you.
Nope.
But Keto Brick is an awesome keto-friendly snack that it could be used so many ways, you guys, seriously. But it is keto-friendly, high-fat, low-carb, has really, really good macros. It's shelf-stable, which I love because I like to take it with me when I leave the house with the kids. And it's got no sweeteners, none of the crap that we're usually staying away from. So no allulose, erythritol, corn fiber, soy, any of that stuff that we're usually avoiding. But it makes such a great snack. I also love it just as a treat. I like to put it in my coffee and the kids love it. So that's a plus.
I totally agree. And I have one of these every single day.
An entire brick.
Yeah, everybody knows I like to crush mine up into cereal and have it like a cereal. My current favorite flavors are peanut butter and chocolate peanut butter cup, which we have right here next to us. What about you?
I really love the peanut butter because it's nice and smooth, but my other favorite flavor would probably be toasted coconut.
Yeah, toasted almond coconut is amazing. And yeah, of course, as you all know, we are great friends with the owners of this company, Robert Sykes and Crystal Sykes. And both of them, when this started, they were just wrapping these things up in aluminum foil and shipping them out themselves, pulling all-nighters. And here we are several years later. It's an amazing company, guys. They have vegan options, vegan-friendly options, as well as whey options. So the two flavors that I mentioned are chocolate peanut butter cup and peanut butter. And the chocolate peanut butter cup is whey, and the peanut butter is with the pea protein. So if you don't tolerate whey, no worries. Or if you're on a vegan diet, no worries. You can have the peanut butter. So guys, click on the link in the description of this podcast episode and check out the Keto Bricks ASAP. It gets the Fat Fuel family seal of approval. Anything else?
No, that's it. It makes a really great snack. A little trick, I will just give one last tip, is if you want to melt it down, I like to melt it down and put it in little molds to make it just bite sizes for the kids because it's a brick. It is a brick.
Get your Keto Bricks.
Do it.
Well, we are with our Canadian sister who's it's pronounced Regina, right?
It is, yes.
Yeah, she's in a little town called Regina in what's the big? I'm blanking out now. In that is
Saskatchewan.
In Saskatchewan, yes. And we would have seen you in person at the 24-hour event if they weren't so mean and with all their little rules.
Their little rules.
But it's good to have you here, Jodi. You know, you've been an awesome new addition to our online friends, and I can't wait to hug you in person.
Awesome. I can't wait to meet you guys too. It's been a great meeting and connecting. And likewise, it'll be nice to actually get there and meet you guys too.
I know. Yeah. So awesome. So am I up?
Yeah, let's get this party started.
Well, we're super excited to have you on and get into the conversation. But we always lead off with the question, what is the most critical problem that you are currently trying to solve?
Oh yeah, you said this when I was like, okay, I have about a million answers for all the questions. So most critical, I think right now is my people around me, my people that train with me, is keeping them mentally healthy right now.
Is that because of like the changing rules, or is it because of the weather? I mean, it's starting to warm up there, right? Like, what are the main?
It's probably all of the above.
Mental challenges that people are facing. Oh well, yeah, you had snow like last week. That's crazy.
Did, right? Gosh. Yeah, weather that it totally impacts. It's like when we did the 48-hour challenge. Before we did that, about a month before when I was talking to Tom about doing it, it was so cold here. It was like deep freeze cold. Like we were in minus 40, and Tom's like, well, we can wait to do this. And I'm like, no, we can't wait, because I see when people walk into the studio, like, because it's been a long year with everything, but then you put cloudy days and cold weather on top of that, and it's just like I could see everybody just kind of sink a little bit deeper inside. So I was like, we need to do it. We need to do something. And thankfully, when we did the 48 hours, it was beautiful out, and it's beautiful out here today. It's actually going to be 20 here today, so it's really good. But like it's intense. It's all relative. All the weather, right?
It is all relative.
But I think just the past year, with all the restrictions that everybody's been placed on, our big thing that we talk about now is we call it the Groundhog's Day, because nobody really knows what day it is anymore, because you get up, you work from home. The only thing that they may do is come to the studio and train, and then they go back home. So everyone's like, wow, time is flying. I don't know what day it is, but it's all, So I think, I think it wears on people. I don't necessarily think often you even realize how much it does wear on you until something happens. And just to go back to my yesterday, I went with my daughter. We went to a store, and we haven't went out like shopping, and went to try it on some clothes. And I was like, we were just had so much fun. And then I was like, oh my God, this was the most great day ever. And then I was like, because it was different.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You got to do something different. So
I'm surprised they let you try on clothes. I went to Target to find bathing suits, and I had to put it like over I had leggings on. I'm like, well, this is going to get tried on right over these leggings because I don't know if it's going to fit. But yeah, like all the dressing rooms are closed. So that's fun. That's fun. You can totally tell. Even when I go to like within the last year, going to a wedding or any event, you could just tell that people are like, hi, like everybody is craving that connection.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. And, one more thing. I mean, like, it's not like it would be nicer in places like around your country if at the very least they let people get together in their homes. But even then, it's like, that is not something that you mess with over a long period of time. I mean, you guys already have long winters as it is, which is just going to automatically minimize your human contact. But like, from a microbiome standpoint, we're interacting with each other when we hug. We're trading all this bacteria, and we're really keeping our immune system strong, and we're keeping our everything, mental health strong. So you're right. You picked a good one. You said a lot of them, but you picked a good one because it's a challenge with what you guys are going through. But I think we'll get to that later too, because you guys have had some really cool ideas of getting around this stuff, and trying to make the best of this situation. But I would love to hear, Jodi's superhero origin story. So like, tell us about your experience in the fitness space, and then what turned you on to kettlebell kickboxing, and then what, obviously you liked it, you brought it to Canada, and you pretty much run it in Canada. So yeah, tell us all about that.
All right. Okay. Obviously, I'll give you my Cole's version of the story. Yeah, it's been incredible. So it's been since 2017 since it all kind of played out. But I had recently been separated. I'd stayed at home for 13 years. I was a stay-at-home mom. And I really just, I needed something to do because I had stayed home for so long, and I was always into fitness. I was fit throughout my marriage and with raising my kids. But so I was drawn to that, but still unsure of what I wanted to do. And so I kind of took some time to figure that out a little bit. So I started doing some kettlebell training here in the city. And then I started doing some Muay Thai training. And I loved both of them because I love the martial arts, because the discipline and just the training behind it. And then the kettlebell, I don't know what it was. It was like, I always say this sounds so weird, but I'm like 5 kettlebell swings, and I knew there was a purpose behind it for me.
That's awesome.
Love it.
It was like that. And then I came across actually kettlebell kickboxing on Instagram, and I reached out to the lady. She's in New York City, and I sent her an email. I said, I want to get certified, and I want you to hire me. And she's kind of like, maybe I should meet you before we talk about that. I'm like, I know. I just wanted to put that out there, put that in your ear so you can think about it. And, we had talked about it too, that obviously I would want to meet her too, to make sure that it fit. But yeah, I got on a plane. It was the first time I actually flew anywhere by myself where there wasn't somebody on the other end that I knew, because I had taken trips alone, but usually it was to go meet and hang out with friends. So I had friends that wanted to come with me because they were like, oh my God, Jodi, you're going to New York City alone. And I'm like, I know, isn't that cool? But yeah, I got on the plane, and I was super nervous. I had a few people tell me that I was crazy and what was I doing? I should, get a regular job. And I was like, man, I'll be 46 next month. So I was 41. And I thought, I am halfway through the game, or maybe whatever. And I'm like, I am not going out like this. I'm not going out just doing doing regular just to get by. So yeah, so the second day I was in New York, she agreed to hire me. And the second time I flew back, she had phoned me the day before and said, "Do you think you want to open the Canadian region?" And I was like, absolutely, gonna do it. Have no clue how I'm going to do this.
That's amazing.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and I remember sitting, laying in the hotel room when I, did some training, and we talked about, how we're going to do it and set it up. And I used to just think, when you really, it's kind of, I always say to people, I say, if you want to do something, you'll always find a way. Right? And even in that moment when you don't know, like I didn't have a clue. I was laying there thinking, how do I come up with the funds to do what I need to do? But I knew that I would do it, if that makes any sense. So I launched in 2017 of October. So I got certified in March of 2017. I launched the company October 2017. And I was so excited for the day when I launched and so disappointed all at the same time because it was just a day. And then that was the first learning point from a business standpoint where I realized that it's about the journey and what you do within your business. And it's never, ever really going to be about the day. The days are good, right?
Yeah.
But,
Oh my gosh.
It was so built up. I was like, okay, I'm telling the world. And I'm like, all right, it's not really the reaction I got. I wanted, right? Now the work starts.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So that's kind of how it is. We certified trainers. That was our focus for our first little bit. And then I started teaching more here. And then we pivoted through COVID. And I'm like, I think we need to open our own studio location and online. And that's kind of Cole's notes version right there.
I love that. That's great. So I know that you work with a lot of women, which is great. And, women need resistance training, but that could be a hurdle. What have been the main obstacles when, it comes to getting a buy-in from them to lift heavy and use implements like kettlebells that may be intimidating? And how have you been able to address those? Because I know I get that a lot too. Like, well, I don't want to be bulky.
Right. Right. You mean you want me to lift something heavy? Yeah, that is a huge one. And I think education is probably the biggest. I think the best form that I found here in the city is really word of mouth. So the people that I get to train, then they get to show other people that, oh yeah, they're not walking out looking like, these big, big, bulky people. And just going out there and explaining what it's all about. I had a client on the mats, and she's like, when she came, she wanted to get strong. She didn't even really know what strong was. And then she said, now I can actually physically feel what strong means, So
I love that.
So important.
It is. It's so important. And I'm glad because, what I love about kettlebells, my buddy, I'm working on my mobility with my buddy because I'm doing jujitsu again. And, we were doing last week, we were doing Turkish get-ups and all this stuff. And it's like, it is so functional, and so like it ties in movement across the whole body, unlike a lot of types of exercise, and you combine that resistance aspect to it with the functional side of it. And then you have the power aspect when you're doing the swings and things like that. I mean, there's really there's no downside to it, So I'm glad that you're having success with that. And it's like, you should see the women, because I get to meet a lot of them, and it's like you say with what you're doing with the athleisure, it's like it's a feeling. I could tell that it's a feeling there too.
It's a culture.
Yeah, it's like a culture. Like they're all in. They're all in, and all in lock stock with everything you're doing. So it says a lot about what you're doing, and it says a lot about I think it would be cool to see something like that. You got the resistance side with the kettlebells, and you got power, but then you got kickboxing too, which is a whole different way to increase your confidence. And, of course, metabolically, you can do some really fat torching workouts, with kickboxing type of stuff. But
I love Muay Thai, by the way.
Yeah, she did Muay Thai. How long did you do Muay Thai for?
I didn't do it very long because it was something that I added to what I was already doing. And I had my little My kids were really little at the time and it just didn't work out at the time, but it's so fun. I would love to someday do it again. Yeah. It is so fun.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, look, we just talked about how all of these women are bought in and the way they speak about, the culture there. And there's a reason why group fitness is, so successful. Things like CrossFit, people crave community. And, humans are social creatures and we're not meant to be locked up indoors without human interaction. So you mentioned that you took the studio online, you redid your website. It looks awesome. And you found some creative ways to try to get what you need done and what your clients need to do amidst all of these rules. So talk a little bit about that, and then maybe like any tips that you can give people who are living in similar situations around the world, where they may be socially, kind of restrained from socially interacting with people. Just any ideas you can give to them, because we all know how important it is, and I just love how creative you've been with that.
Yeah, so the interesting thing is I remember the day specifically, it was March 17th last year. I was across, because the place I rented for training was across the street from my new studio. And I was in the new studio space with the realtor going over the details of, the new space. And I got I got a message. My phone starts blowing up from my clients because they're like, they're locking us down. And I'm like, okay, I'm in this new space now thinking about what my next step looks like. And now I got to close my doors, right?
Yep.
So, we were to have class that night at 5:30 or whatever. By 4:00, by 4:00, I had a list of pickup times for everybody's kettlebells. They came in alphabetical order because there was that huge initial fear, right? And nobody wanted to be in space close anymore. So they initially, everybody didn't really know what was going on. So by 8:00 that night, all my clients had either 1 or 2 kettlebells to take home. So I just signed them out from the studio. And within 24 hours, we were online, because I was lucky. I've always had an online platform. I just didn't put a whole lot into it because I didn't really use it too much, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then we were able to, jump right online, and that's how we kind of pivoted really quick. But it was such a it was a process, but it wasn't, because it was, again, coming back to when I first started or got offered to do the region. I didn't really know how it was going to look, but I knew how I was going to do it. And kind of the same thing with, this moment hit us. We just needed to figure it out, right? So we went online really, really quick. And then that, as much as people say there's no benefit for what we went through, but I kind of think there is, because you need to learn from the experiences you've had.
Yes.
Totally agree with that.
I was able to focus on my online. We actually just redid the online platform. We did that. We launched that again in April. So that was really good. And, it gave us time to, we still went forward with our space, and we trained outside for the first month. I never told my clients that we were moving spaces, because they took so much on with the change of the world. The last thing I wanted to share with them was, oh, guess what? We don't really have a home right now because I'm dealing on a space. So, which was crazy, because when they told us when we could reopen, again, my phone starts blowing up. People are like, oh my God, we're going to be back in the space training. And in the back of my head, I'm like, oh my God, I have to renovate. I know I've got 4 weeks of painting and putting down floor. So, yeah, but they were really good. I'm very grateful and lucky that my clients, I have a community of people that are just, they want to be there. The community, like you talked, people need people. And, wherever you are, I think there is a way. You just have to find your way, right? Like, there's so many platforms now on, and I think, as crazy as this is going to sound, there's so much about behind a program about, like our program. We have the 5 pillars of human movement. Every day when I plan it, I got to make sure that we have all those pillars in there. That's the structure of that program. But the biggest part of my program is the interaction I have with everybody, right? Like it's the 4 minutes after class when I'm wiping down the mat and somebody has stayed after class to talk about, maybe how not so good their day was, or how great it was. So, I think people are looking for a program, but I think people are always also looking for a connection and a feeling. So I think when you look for a program, you should look for obviously a program that works and has results. But I think you should also feel like you need to find a connection and a feeling with it.
Absolutely. Yeah, and a community of sorts. So important because of that culture.
Yeah.
Do you have something to say? Oh.
No, I was just looking at you.
He's admiring your hair.
I am. I really am.
Right?
I can't believe it still looks this.
You look great.
I think it's because I didn't get it wet.
It's fantastic.
I didn't get it wet, so it's still kicking. So, all right. So in your experience, what have been, some of the more prevalent blind spots that you can identify when first working with a client, whether it's, maybe related to diet or movement, or even mindset?
They all kind of probably roll in eventually. Diet's huge. I find when people actually do start working out and training, you'll be more inclined to recognize what you put in your mouth.
Yeah.
Because you're starting to feel good, right? But to have the full benefits and results of that, you have to, be mindful of what you're eating, because that's a huge part. Getting in the door, that's your mindset part. I have so many clients or people I know, they're like, can't train yet. I get this one. I'm not in shape yet.
Yeah, that never makes sense to me.
That one doesn't make sense to me.
That doesn't make sense.
Because I actually don't like going to the gym when I feel like I've been eating, or like if I feel overweight. I'm like, guys, that's not when it's fun. It's fun when I feel in shape. That's when I like to go.
Yeah, but
but that's the hardest part.
Yeah, that's the hardest part for people. They're saying that they don't want to go in until they're in shape.
But that doesn't make
But you need to use the gym to get in shape.
Yeah, it's wild.
Right? But it's a mindset thing, because you don't want to get on the mats beside somebody and have somebody being like, maybe you had a dance person that's been there for a while, and you're gonna feel crappy. Like I'm always brutally honest. I'm like I always say to my clients when they come in, like I do an intro group that we're running right now, I'm like, I want you to remember how hard this class is. Like, do you feel like you want to throw up? Do you feel like, we do this thing called swimmers where you got to actually physically pull yourself across the body or across the mat.
Oof.
Right? And because we mimic a pull-up, because we don't have that many pull-ups to train everybody in a group class a pull-up, right? But we do a pull on the mat, and it's not fun. Like, and I always say, and I'm like, remember this, remember how yucky you feel right now, because I said, I guarantee you stick with it. 2 weeks in, you're going to go down there and you're like, oh yeah, right? And I think just making that connection between you get it, because it's not, your body will get it, because your body's programmed to, if you take care of it, it will get stronger. You got to work your mind, right? And that's where you got to put the connection.
Well, I think you made some good points there. I think like that's one that people need to think about, is start visualizing. Like, this is something I wish you were there, Jodi. I mean, seriously, the 24-hour event, because it was like, I was able to share this with a client literally like a week after we were there. And it's like, you're not going to become the person that you want to become you're that person, and you need to start saying it, and you need to start visualizing it in your mind that I am the person who I think I need to become, because like, it's a fact that when you admit that you are that person already, you're going to start saying, what do I do as this person? Well, I know I don't miss a workout. Because that's what it took for me to become this person who maybe it doesn't show yet, but it will show as they accept that that's the person who they are. All of those actions are going to support, because we can't not be who we are, So it's like, so with all these people who are like, oh, I can't wait till I get in good shape. It's like, you're that person already. I love that you say, remember this, because, there's so many times, especially, I can't stand social media, but it's the only reason why I was able to quit my job, so it's like, it's such a double-edged sword, but it's like, when I was in college, for example, like we knew that we had to eat to get big. And we ate some more and we ate some more. And nowadays it's like with Instagram and all this stuff, like people are always on diets. They're literally dieting all the time. They never take the time to put on muscle. I see that more with the men. Well, actually the women too.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that I was going to say about that you mentioned, the diet. I mean, Maura and I did CrossFit like 2011 to 2013. And there were people who never really changed the way they looked because as they increased their output, they increased their input a lot, you know?
Yep.
And so, it's like, it's fine if you're eating to fuel the sport and if you're eating to fuel your activity. You don't have to pay attention as much to the quantity, but if you're trying to burn some fat, you're going to have to eventually, hold back and change the diet. But you're right. When they start moving, they feel so much better. And I've actually had so many conversations with friends of mine who go back and forth from like not doing stuff for months and then getting back into it. They always admit that like when they're training, their diet is on point. And then it's like when they're not training, it's like, what? Might as well eat like crap too. I'm just like, how does that make sense? But that's the mindset. So now let's talk about, this is great because I want to know, I know that, and actually was talking to Tom about this not that long ago, because like the Zoom thing is like a pretty new thing, right? Like that you're doing stuff with Zoom. So I'm just curious, what you're working on, and how people can find you online. I know I think you launched the Zoom thing and I remember Tom telling me like that you were kind of like wondering about, how this was going to be. And then it just turned out like, oh man, there's like a lot of people doing this now. So it's like you're having success. Yeah. So yeah, tell us about that and anything else you're working on.
Yeah. What we're doing, the Zoom thing is the newest thing that, because mostly I do that online where you'd show up and you just train. I just started with a gal last week and more kind of a check-in thing that I offer my clients, whether it be like this where you get to talk or a phone call. Because sometimes people are a little bit still like, I don't want to put a face to things quite yet, but a phone call conversation is a good start, right? So that's really been unique to the training. I think it's a great way to connect, really. We schedule 15 minutes. That's all we do. And it's just kind of, you get to where you do your check-in, your accountability. Did you do some training? How is your eating going? I think it's what people are lacking. Like as technology gets bigger and better, where you go to do things and you don't have an interaction with a person. Yeah, it's great. It might speed things up, but like you said, humans need interaction.
Yeah.
And like even being able to, have a conversation where I can see you guys and, there's something to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't think with technology that's going to go away. I think it's actually going to so if you have your business, if you can reach out and connect that way, some way, so you can visually see, I think that's a good way to go because people are going to crave it eventually because we're losing it, right?
Yeah, it's weird. Like now, our standards change because before it was always, don't get me wrong. I mean, I would have been working so much harder if I only had to work in person because, that was the way back in the day. It was like, if you had a full schedule, you were busting your butt. You were making good money, but like, I mean, you got, literally like 5:30 a.m. all the way to like 8 or 9 p.m. and you get breaks every now and then. But, what you're doing is, number one, there's a whole different level of accountability when you have to walk in and I have to look at you, because, we're going to have to work out together and, I'm going to see you often. Now, if we're just doing the check-in and you're not even letting me see your face, like, it's like, it would be like basically what I've done in the past and I've done this, I've been guilty of this, where I'm like, I'm just not going to weigh myself. And then all of a sudden I'm not.
Like if it goes away.
Like as if it goes away. Like and it's like.
Not weighing yourself cancels
Yeah.
it.
And then I'm like, I'm not going to be surprised when I'm 11 pounds heavier or, 15 pounds heavier because you lose that accountability. So it's like, these are things that are making it harder nowadays for us to keep each other accountable, because we can retreat, we can order Uber Eats, and we can do all these things that, like, what is it? What do they call that? Contactless pickup, like no contact delivery, like it's literally, you can become a hermit, and
it's easy.
Oh, it's so bad.
And depending on your personality, like for me, it can be easy.
Yeah.
But then you still get caught up in it, and you're like, why am I depressed?
Yeah.
You're like, oh,
right?
maybe I do need to hang out with some people.
Like, I'm feeling right now, just sitting next to Maura, I'm feeling like some electricity coming through here. But I don't know if that's just that I'm next to you or that I'm next to you.
Oh my gosh.
Probably
a little bit of both.
A little bit of both. So Jodi, so you got that, and now with the what you started last year with the online stuff, were you having where people they picked up their kettlebells? Were they all like signing in and were they doing a workout at home on their own, or were you doing like a Zoom call where like people were looking on a TV and you saw a bunch of screens and people like swinging kettlebells?
Yeah, we use Zoom. We use them prior to class when we were in lockdown, so you could come in and check in. Everybody would, say hi. It works better after class because then people would get on there and like, oh my God, you kicked your butt. And it's funny that when people didn't show up, they're like, where is so-and-so? They didn't jump on Zoom. Where are they?
Oh, yeah.
So then somebody would get a message, right? So that part of it's accountability, right?
Yeah.
That's smart to do
Always.
it after.
Yeah, I like
That's
that.
Smart.
Yeah. And then because I would have people say, well, not going to lie, about 40 minutes in, I sit on the couch.
I love it.
Right? And I'm like, come on.
I'm still being honest. That's great.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
it's tough. It's tough to do that. Like, that was not easy.
Remember
I
jiu-jitsu?
am not the type of person that can work out from home. I do not like to work out from home. Because I'm a very distracted person. And so my mind will start in our garage. I'm like, well, I need to organize that. And it's not peaceful for me. It's not a disconnect.
And then the kids are coming out to ask for snacks.
In. Can I have a snack? Can I have this? Yeah,
or they're fighting.
Yeah, because for me to go to the gym, like the whole thing is to put my music and to get in the zone and all of that. So yeah, it was tough. But we were also doing, which was so funny, but it was Zoom jiu-jitsu with the boys.
That was hilarious.
And yes, and because of Danny's size, I was the dummy because my kids cannot, my little one, no matter how hard he tries, he cannot get Danny into any kind of position.
Yeah, he can't
get his arms around to get him into, a backpack or what they call the seatbelt position when they're little. And so I was the dummy. And there was some days that I was like, yeah, I don't know that I want to be choked out right now.
Well, thankfully,
because my older one he would.
And remember, we're lucky because they let us bring in our neighbors,
That's
kids.
What we did, yeah.
And one of our,
That's what I did one day. I was like, man, I was like, dude, I really don't want to be the dummy. Can, a few days a week, like our neighbor's son, I was like, he would probably love it. I'm like, can he just come? And he did. He came and he would just do the class with the boys. Yeah.
So that was good. But, it was just for the kids. I don't even want to get into it because it's just like, just thinking about it. Thank God for us, it wasn't that long. But I mean, a lot of these kids have been forced into this thing where they're not going to school. I mean, they're not, look, we homeschool, but we've been adamant about this. We've not, like, people need to understand, like we've said this for years and years, like homeschooling is not sitting on your kitchen table doing homework with your parents.
Yeah. I actually don't like the word because it suggests that you're home. And so for all of my friends during the pandemic, I was just like, guys, this is not homeschooling. Yeah, because everybody's like, you guys have been doing this. You guys will be fine. And it's like, no. We don't stay home. I'm like, we don't stay locked up inside the house. Virtual chess club? Like, what was that? Yeah, we do. We go outside. We go to the zoo. We're actually never home. Actually. Yeah, go to the museum. Because I don't like to be home. All the libraries. Yeah, so we would just be out and about. So I'm like, what you guys are doing is called surviving. Yeah.
Right? My oldest didn't she graduated, but she didn't get her graduation. And then my youngest right now, she's in grade 10. So she spent a year and a half doing school online. And so obviously no prom. No, I felt so bad for the graduating class. We don't have prom. Oh, you guys don't even do prom. That's that thing, okay? No. Well, it's good. Then you're not missing anything. Good. That's so interesting. They have a graduation. Okay. That's interesting. But, yeah. But it's a different dynamic. Like my youngest, she started coming down to the studio and sitting at the front desk because I'm like, you need to get around people. Like it's a good thing. And she was there last week and we came back to the apartment and she's like, Mom, I get it. And I'm like, you get what? She's like, the people. She goes, I've never seen so many happy people.
Yeah.
That's so great.
And I was taken back by it because I'm in it, right? And I know everyone's happy because I see them, they converse, they laugh, they joke around, but to know that the state of mind that she's in and what she's going through, that would light such a big light bulb in her to go crazy, right?
So and when you're alone, you only have your own thoughts, your own opinions, and you can really convince yourself of certain things. And so you need to be around people to realize like, oh wait, because it happens to me. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Your mind can take you places that you don't need to always go. Exactly. Right.
Well, Jodi, this was awesome. First, tell us where people can find you online, and then anything that people can try out, whether it's like a week of classes, depending on, I guess it's from anywhere around the world they can join. Anything, please send that to us and please share where people can find you online.
Awesome. So kbkbstudio.tv. I went with a shorter name because it's easier. So you can go there, try the online free for 3 days if you wish. Reach out, connect always. And actually, I'm doing a challenge with Tom here starting May 5th.
Yeah, we got those, by the way. We have those athletic greens.
Did you get
they're
it?
A sponsor of my other podcast, so I'll do it.
What is the challenge?
It's basically you're going to try athletic greens for 3 weeks.
Oh, okay. I keep seeing people post about it. Is that like a certain brand?
Yeah.
Okay.
We have it there.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I keep hearing about it.
Yeah, they're a sponsor of ours on our other podcast. So
that's awesome. Yep. So we're doing that, and just it's it's springtime here, so everybody's ready to get out, get active, right? Get moving around, go get some sunshine, right? But our online, anybody can access it. I actually just talked to a gal in Australia this morning, and she's like, I can't train with you. And she follows me on LinkedIn, and I'm like, yeah, you can go online. And like, you can train with me like live 4 times a week. We record it live, and then that's there. Pretty awesome. It lives there.
Just gotta make sure, because like we've recorded podcasts with people in Australia and New Zealand, and it's like you got to really figure out the time.
They're in the future.
Yeah, because she's in your mountain, right? You're 2 hours behind east. Central. Okay, so really, So then I remember it's something crazy like 17 hours. I don't remember what it is.
They're ahead.
They're ahead. Yeah, they're in the future.
Right.
And then lastly, so we got the website kbkbstudio.tv, and then what is the for Instagram? What's the best handle for that? Or
Oh, that's the long one. Kettlebell Kickboxing Canada.
Yeah, but that's actually
it's so easy to remember though. Yeah. Even though it's long,
right?
At least it's easy to remember.
Yep.
And it's all it's all words.
Yeah, that's actually good. Well, Jodi, this was awesome. Thank you so much for coming on, and it was awesome, and we'll have you again, I'm sure, in the future. Yes, wish you the best, and hopefully everything opens up very soon over there.
We're hoping. So thank you so much for having me on. It was great meeting you both, and hopefully one day underneath the sunshine we'll swing a kettlebell together.
Gosh, I would love that.
Yes.
Or would love to see you at the 24-hour challenge as well.
Yes.
So fun.